Hey yo, Salvatore here. Friday schmacks on an NBA 10-game slate, and I mean schmacks today because we got a lot of news to cover, a lot of top 12 plays of the day to cover today for you, the beautiful listener, for you, the beautiful viewer of this program today. Before we get into it, Good Friday for all the people out there that are going to be celebrating Easter. Got myself a nice little brunch set up with the girlfriend. Can't wait to put on something Easter colored. I just love it. I just love the feel of Easter. It's like a casual holiday for you with some nice bright colors, some nice chocolate bars, and oh baby brunch. Oh baby brunch is the big bad one. It is also World Autism Awareness Day, so a very big day there. And then there's some other holidays. National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Hey, I can celebrate. Hey, you put peanut butter. If anybody knows my Twitter, I bought a $15 thing of peanut butter. Not knowing that. I thought at most would be like $7, something fancy, right? A cinnamon something peanut butter. Tasted really good, honey in it, whatever this was. Thought it was going to be like $6-7 because, you know, it's like some artisan thing. Yeah, $15 later, and your boy ate it in like 2 days. So what are we going to do? We can't celebrate with that today. We're not going to go buy another one. So since you're here right now, I'm going to schmack you. We're going to be live right around 5 p.m. East Coast time today. So what you need to do, 2 seconds of your time. Subscribe to this channel. You can tap that thing right there that looks like an upside down finger pointing down, aka the finger pointing up, the like button, and the notification bell is pretty big, so you know when all the content on this here channel for NBA, NFL will be starting up in weeks now. We are weeks away. We're doing prep on the back end for NFL right now with the draft coming up, and then it's the summer, and NFL starts to take a pretty big precedent, and we have MLB back as of yesterday, so we have MLB projections over on Patreon, some beta projections, so you can check those out as well if you're looking for even more tools. We got some for you. The news today, John Wall is questionable. And then there's some news on here that's not going to be covered because there's just so much, but I want to get you to the schmacks, the top 12 plays, right? John Collins is going to stay out. The New York guards today, between Derrick Rose and RJ Barrett, we're going to have some questionable tags there. Justice Winslow's out. Sabonis is questionable today. Levine is questionable. So lots of big names. Ty Jerome already ruled out for a Thunder team that is down a decent amount of bodies. Kobe White is questionable. The Pelicans today, and we're going to have to put a disclaimer on this in a second. So Grayson Allen questionable, Jeremy Lamb, but the Pelicans today. Zion sprained thumb. Lonzo's missed like his last 3 or 4 games ever since the trade deadline when they thought he might get traded. Who knows what's going on there? Brandon Ingram, he missed yesterday. I'm projecting all of these fellas out today, but I'm not putting them in the top 12 plays. I'm not putting any Pelicans in the top 12 plays. Why is that, Sal? Because the whole list today would just be Pelicans. I want to give you some diversity. And if at 3 o'clock today they rule in all these guys, well, then this video was a waste, right? Or if they rule in Brandon Ingram because I don't know if he has anything lingering or if it was more so a rest day yesterday because all the other guys are out. So disclaimer for you, and I actually put it on the screen right now on the YouTube channel. Disclaimer, and this is like the pill bottles, right? You're taking your pills. Like I take some multivitamins. I take a pill as it stands right now for some acne stuff over the next 3 or 4 months. It's like an Accutane. Gotta have your Vaseline ready, your guinea shit, your Vaseline ready. But basically I take some pills and you know the back to disclaimers, a 1% chance or 0.1% chance that it causes these 1,000 different symptoms. Pretty crazy in general that they could put that on a TV while it's like singing such nice music and kids running in a park up to their parents and they're saying all these disclaimers that are terrible things to happen. So the disclaimer, not including the New Orleans guys until we get some news. If the big 3 are out again, then James Johnson, who played 28 minutes yesterday, Kira Lewis, Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Bledsoe, those 5 bodies right there are going to be in my top 10 and closer to my top 6, each of them. So obviously, yes, if those guys are out, play those guys. You'll see the updates and the projections. You'll see them actually in there right now. I just don't want to make this whole video a New Orleans Pelicans top 5 plays of the day, right? Because we don't know what that news is going to be just about yet. And you already know that they're going to be good plays based on what I just told you, if indeed all those guys are out yet again. So our number 12 play on the slate is going to be Mr. Reese Haliburton, the rookie. Potentially, in my opinion, if he can continue to get minutes in the 30+ range, like he has been getting basically since the All-Star break, even with DeLon right there. If this rookie can continue to play 30+ minutes and can continue to go out there and have some sort of upside, right? The shot attempts in the teens, maybe get his assist percentage back up to where he had 10 assists a game ago and just get around 4, 5, 6 a game, I think he can win the Rookie of the Year. I really think that just based on how well he's been playing. Anthony Edwards has been extremely inefficient. You're going to be getting a little bit more efficiency out of Tyrese Haliburton. Now, the issue with Tyrese Haliburton, he's kind of at the appropriate price point, right? You get the shooting guard eligibility, which is the bigger thing for me, but the minutes are there, right? 30, 32, 33, 34. The other thing is the trade deadline brought DeLon Wright over, who's a very good producer. Lately, we haven't been seeing the upside of Tyrese Haliburton's assists, right? We're seeing 2 assists, 10. That's great, right? Get a double-double that game, score 40 points. 2, 1, 7, 2, and 3, right? So we only had like 2 games of the assists, which is the big thing for Tyrese Haliburton. And if I pull up Add More Funds on the screen right now, this is the Sacramento Kings team in my build that I had for them this year. And you can see Tyrese Haliburton averages around a 23%. This is assist percentage, 23% assist percentage on the season. So what that's telling me is that, yeah, this is still a good assist player, but with DeLon right there right now, and De'Aaron Fox improving and playing out of his mind the past month, that's kind of pushing down what you get out of Reese Haliburton. So that's my concern for him. Also, he's not playing 34 and 35 minutes as often with the one right there now. So there is a concern as him being a number 12 player. I will say on this slate, outside of the New Orleans guys, if they miss and opens up a ton of value, we're not looking at a ton of value for a 10-game slate. We still have to see what happens with Sabonis and Levine and Kobe White and these other guys for the value to arise. But as it stands right now, outside of the New Orleans guys and the guys that we'll talk about really in the top 10 in this video, there's not too much value for a 10-game slate. I expect, as always in the NBA, that's all going to get blown through right around 3 or 4 p.m. later on today with a bunch of news. But pretty interesting because normally in the morning we have a ton of value outside of New Orleans. The number 11 play on the slate is going to be Gordon Hayward. Look, I keep going back to the well with Gordon Hayward. I don't know why we don't go back to the well with Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward continues to play big minutes, and he's small forward eligible as a guy playing a lot of power forward. Now, in that last game against Brooklyn, well, his team lost by like 15. They lost 111 to 89. That last game was yesterday on April Fool's Day, and this ain't no joke. This ain't no motherfucking joke. Gordon Hayward came out there. He probably in that game lost around 10 minutes, right? Because he's been playing 39, 41, and 39 minutes the last 3 games. Then he plays 29 minutes because the game blows out. So, right, all the Charlotte guys end up blowing out. If you're looking at their previous game and you want to be a game log watcher, oh, he only scored 20 points in that game. Well, yeah, he only shot 11 times when he's been shooting 16 to 20 times in a game. And he lost 10 minutes of play. So his rebounding rate went from having 9, 6, 7, 11 rebounds to 4. And his assists went from 3, 6 to 1. So right there alone, he probably would have been in the mid-30s in fantasy points. He probably still would have had a bad game because he only shot 45% and 25% from 3, but still, $7,900 Gordon Hayward. Price point doesn't change. Still projecting him without Devontae Graham for around 1.1 fantasy points per minute. And as it stands right now, the projections are all done on Patreon. So if you want to follow along down below for all the updated projections for the NBA, the optimizer, all the tools. We had a ton of people join the Discord yesterday. It's a fun community we're joining there. We're going to try to plan some events out once COVID is all over with getting some people together in person. We can do some NFL drafts. We can watch some NBA together in different cities and weekends and things like that. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Be sure to get into that Discord. Be sure to join Patreon. Link down below. But I have Gordon Hayward for the most minutes on this team today at 37, and that might be low from what you're seeing at 39 plus in 3 out of his last 4 games that don't have a blowout. He's our number 11 play today. Our number 10 play, we start to get into it. Malcolm Brogdon here, who continues to just be underpriced. Malcolm Brogdon, even with Karis LeVert, LeVert's just averaging like a point per minute on this team. He's not like 1.1, not like 1.15 when he was with the Nets and there were some guys out. No, you're getting Malcolm Brogdon right now, still not changing in his price point. And I'm not too sure why. Now, if you're looking at that last game, he plays 31 minutes and he shoots 16%. So this one makes sense, right? So he's had 2 big games in a row, 45 points, 36 points, and then he shoots 16%. So he shoots 2 of 12 in that game. He still gets his shot volume, right? He shoots 1 of 8 from three-point land. Clearly not going to withstand for Malcolm Brogdon, a man who so far this season is shooting well into the 50s in effective field goal rate, and they end up losing in that game. Very low-scoring game. They lose to Miami 87-92. So a man who is scoring 16, 22, 26 real-life points and then scores 7, clearly an outlier performance. I think we're getting a nice spot here, especially when you take into account his team total. A 113.25 team implied total is very good to see today. That team implied total, even on a 10-game slate, is going to be coming in as one of the highest totals on the slate. It's going to be right around the number 6 total on the slate. You get the $7,000 price point. The 1.4x multiplier in SuperDraft continues to be appealing to me. All these guys, Gordon Hayward 1.5x, Reese Haliburton a little bit less, but the 1.6x multiplier gives him a little bit of a bump up to SuperDraft. It looks nice, very, very nice. The number 9 play in the slate is Giannis Antetokounmpo, but before we get to the Greek motherfucking freak, put your hands in the air like you just don't care. We're going to talk about the sponsor of the program today. But PrizePicks is just an over-under on fantasy points. It's an over-under on either fantasy points or actual player props, assists, rebounds. They have MLB as well. But if you're looking at the fantasy points right now, a little early on schmacks for you. If you want to tail me on this, linked in the description below is the way to sign up for PrizePicks. Very simple. You go into that link, use the code SAL when you sign up. You put whatever amount of money you put in up to $100, you'll get double that, right? You get double that to play with if you use the code SAL. They say, oh, you're coming from Sal? Oh, we know that guy. Yeah, we got you. We'll give you a little hookup here. So you want to put $20 in, you get 20 right back. You want to put $50 in, 50 right back, all the way up to $100 Rooskies. I very much so encourage you to try it out. It's very simple. It simplifies the way you play DFS. It's a ton of fun. We have a Discord specifically for PrizePicks now, and a lot of people, it's very active. I think there's over 1,000 messages yesterday in there alone. It's extremely active. A lot of people are taking to PrizePicks and these types of player prop sites instead of DraftKings, maybe playing both of them because, hey, you get home from work, you don't have as much time that specific day, you worked a little bit longer, some overtime, hanging out with the kids have a sporting event, whatever it is, you have a date with the wife, whatever it is, you can just come in here and key in on a couple of players. Don't have to worry about a whole entire lineup and then building out things like that based on news. So right now, early on, Steph Curry, give me the over there. I currently have Steph Curry projected over 47 points, so we'll take the over there. Just a little bit too much of a difference in my opinion. And then the other ones, so Fred VanVleet, I have him around 45 points. If you wanted to go there, it looks okay. I have, as it stands right now, Julius Randle around 46 points, but I'll take the under on Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum's going to be getting a fully healthy team right now, right? Evan Fournier, Marcus Smart, Kemba, Jaylen Brown as of right now. I have Tatum for around 42 points, so I'll take the under here on his 45. And the other thing with Jayson Tatum is Robert Williams is playing 30 minutes now. Maybe we'll talk about Robert Williams in this video, but if we're going to get big minutes out of Robert Williams, even less production for all the other starts because Robert Williams is a 1.3 fantasy point per minute producer. So the over on Steph Curry, yeah. Well, we're going to put that on a t-shirt. Steph Curry your hair Johnson. So Mr. Curly Machine Steph Curry, the over on him, your curling irons right there. Flamethrowers, and then you end up having Jayson Tatum on the under. You want to follow this? There'll be more props later in the day that we can talk about on the live stream as well, but this is their early props, their early 8 to start the day. Use that code SAL, link below, SAL, to let them know that you came from your boy right here, and get absolutely schmacked right there at the camera. Schmacked. Bang. Double schmacked. Take these hands right to your face with some free $Rooskies. Code SAL, SAL, lets them know that you came from me, the number 9 playing the slate, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Look, the point per minute production since Jrue Holiday is back, it's gone down. This is a guy when Jrue Holiday was out, was averaging 1.74 fantasy points per minute. And I can show you exactly what I mean. Right here, Giannis on the season is averaging 1.3 fantasy points per minute. That's his fantasy points per minute on DraftKings. If we ended up taking Jrue Holiday off the court, you'll see this spike up a little bit more. So now Jrue Holiday's been back. Jrue Holiday's been playing better than ever, honestly, right now. Giannis goes up to 1.75. He's a totally different player. And now he's still a high producer, but Giannis was dropping at minimum 60 points with Jrue Holiday off the court. Now when he gets to the 60s, it seems like a good game. So if we can get Giannis to start to play 36 minutes. I have him at 36 tonight in a quality matchup against Portland with a 120 team total. So don't make that sound like light or anything like that. His 120 team total as it stands right now is the second highest on the slate, a point behind Utah today. And at the end of the day, the pure points upside is where you're really going to be balling out with Giannis. There's not that many strong payups. Like you have guys that are payup options. Steph coming off of a nice game, right? You have Luka who's been struggling. You have Towns now in the 10K range pretty securely. You have Trae Young who's been struggling. Damian Lillard with some guys back, right? So there's not as many secure payups. Your payup guys that are obvious options. Your Russell Westbrooks as of late. A bunch of guys who are injured. Your James Hardens, right? So this is where I currently stand with Giannis being that guy that I'm going to be paying up for. He is currently my highest projected player by 5.5 points, so that also comes into play, especially on a 10-game slate. That's pretty rare. I have Giannis for 57.6 points today in 36 minutes of play, slightly above his season average in fantasy points. The number 8 play in the day is going to be one Montrezl Harrell. So here's the thing with Montrezl Harrell. We didn't like him last time. We said take the under on fantasy points on Prize Picks. Schmack you right there. There's your $Rooskies that ended up hitting. But now Andre Drummond plays one game. He breaks his toenail. Now he's out for a really long time or a extended period of time. So insert Montrezl Harrell. And I expect Montrezl Harrell to come off the bench because the game before Andre Drummond played, we saw Marc Gasol start. So track that news. If Harrell starts, even better because now his price point is down. But if Harrell comes off the bench, you're probably not getting the 32, 34 minutes. But you might still get 28 to 30 minutes out of him. And with the price point now down, a 1.15 fantasy point per minute with no AD, with no Drummond, with no LeBron, is still a very quality option for you. A 109.25 team implied total. So just track the starting lineup here. If he starts, great. The 30-plus minutes are in play. I'm expecting him not to snart. What is a snart? A sneezing fart? That sounds terrible. I'm expecting him not to snart today, if you will. So hopefully he doesn't do that. Or start. And I'm still going to think that he plays around 28 minutes. Quality play either way, our number 8 play in the slate. Again, these are all going to be changing and dropping a little bit if indeed those 3 New Orleans guys ruled out. The number 1 scorer on the slate yesterday, oh, it warms my heart. And you're going to see something unique here. Clint Capella and my interest above $8,000. I love Clint Capella whenever he's under $8,000. He scores 60 points yesterday. He balls out. Clint Capella should have never dropped below $8,000 the last month and a half. Clint Capella consistently when he goes out there and gets his minutes, right? And obviously the game goes to overtime yesterday, so he plays 44 minutes, getting you to those 60 points, and some other guys like DeRozan got a little bit higher because of that and things along those lines. But when he gets his minutes, when he gets his 30-plus, he gets 35 against Phoenix, 40 fantasy points. He gets 30, and he ends up scoring 48. He gets 31. He ends up scoring 54. This is all within the last 5 games, right? So he's having a very, very nice last week to week and a half. Now we get to New Orleans Pelicans, where at the very best, you're going to be having Steven Adams trying to guard him. Jackson Hayes stands no chance. Nobody else that they can put out there, especially if Zion is out, stands any chance. I'm projecting him today for 1.34 fantasy points per minute. With Adams out there, it's nice because it gives him some closing run upside. We no longer get him at that $7,500 to $7,700 price point, so pour one out to the $7,000 Clint Capella right here. Put your hands in the air like you just don't care, but I got him for 43.29 fantasy points, and on a slate with not a ton of $8,000 range value right now, $7,900 Gordon Hayward, but not a ton in that price range otherwise. Mr. Capella looks very nice. Number 6 play of the day is Dennis Schroeder. So Dennis Schroeder, another guy who's going to be benefiting. Another guy who we liked last time out when the Lakers played, and his price point has not changed, I don't think, at all since that game. He's point guard only, which does hurt. He's been $7,100 now for this is the 4th straight game, and what has he done? He's beat that price every single time. 45, 41, 42, and 37 fantasy points. Every single time he's beat that price, and the price point doesn't change. He's played in those games 39, 32, 36, and 32 minutes. He shot 14, 12, 14, and 18 times. Everything's clicking for him. He's not even shooting well, coming off of a game where where he shot 33%, 42%, 20% in 3 out of his last 5 games. And he's still getting you there because he's involved everywhere. He's been having rebounds. He's a great assist player. He picks up steals and blocks. He plays big minutes, so he gets you there. So Schroeder at $7,100 now with this nice team implied total. Quality matchup against Sacramento, and there being no Drummond, so more points to go around, more rebounds even for everybody, including these guards, where Schroeder's now up to a 10% plus defensive rebounding rate, which is good to see. $7,100 Schroeder, our number 6 play on the day. Inside the top five, and he is 5, Mikal Bridges, but I want to let you know about just the offerings that we have for you. You want to come in, join the community over Discord. It's a beautiful, beautiful community. We have optimizers that we show, we preview, we play around with during the live streams later in the day, the NBA optimizer, and all this is bundled at an industry low price. So if you're like, I don't have the money for it, or all these prices are like $100 or $200 for the month to get an optimizer and projections and things like that, we're literally a fraction of the cost. It's just me. I'm a one-man band over here. It's myself. I don't even have kids. I don't have a wife. I have a girlfriend, but I don't have a wife. So it's just me right now. I have no mortgage, so I don't have to charge these extremely high prices like all these other sites to be paying 50 contractors. And that's not saying anything bad about that. Keeping people employed in the fantasy sports and betting space is a good thing. Let people do their hobbies while making money. It's a good thing for everybody. It makes everybody flourish and just be happy in their life, which I'm all for, right? But the reality is I don't have to charge high for that. I don't have to do it. So you want to check it out down below on Patreon. We have a ton of tools. We have a ton of projections. We even have MLB projections now that'll be going out daily. 6-game MLB slate today. Be sure to check it out. It's all linked down below right now for all of you. Come in there. Join us. How you doing? We got PGA. We got MMA. So much stuff, so much value. I can't even say it. Like, the annoying parts of my life make even more value for you. Me having to update for all the injury news in the NBA every single time, bringing my laptops to bars and things like that. Like last night at points at 8 p.m. to update for some injury news. So be sure to check it out down below. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Twitter, on Patreon, on the YouTube comments, anything. Happy to have you. Once you get into that Discord, say, hey, yo, I'm brand new here. What's going on? Who's in here? How does this all work? We'll be like, hey, welcome to the party. This is how it works right here. Let's win these dollar rooskies. Let's build this beautiful community. Let's have a good time, meet some friends in the process. And then eventually when all this COVID stuff ends, we can all link up, watch some games, play some DFS, maybe do some NFL fantasy leagues and things along those lines. Number 5 play in the slate. You're actually getting somewhat of a value. We haven't talked about a lot of value plays today because outside of New Orleans, a lot aren't really out there right now. But Mikal Bridges at $5,100. Mikal Bridges is always just the same play, right? Once he becomes over $5,500, it's like, I can go somewhere else. He fills the small forward needy spot of not having too many great options there. He's on a team with a 1.16.25. He's got a beautiful name as well, Mikal Bridges. What a name, right? And he just plays big minutes. Now, in that last game, he didn't play as big of minutes. He played just 28 minutes. Wasn't as great of a matchup. Game kind of got away late in the game. But you're getting 31, 35, 42, 30 minutes in the 4 games previous to that. So when you get Mikal Bridges out there for his 33 minutes a game on the season, decent point per minute producer over 0.8, he's normally scoring you right in that mid-20 range a lot of the times. Now, he's going to be very shooting dependent. Does he hit he gets 3 or 4 shot attempts a game from 3. Does he hit 1 to 2 of those to get you there, or is he not hitting those? He is not a yes for me in my player pool as it stands right now on Patreon. He's not a yes. Neither is actually right now Reese Haliburton. The rest of these guys are currently yeses for me, but if I was to give you, I don't have enough yeses to kind of fill the page. If I take out the New Orleans guys, I currently have right now 14 yeses, and 5 of them are New Orleans guys, so that doesn't add up to top 12 plays. So some maybes had to get in there. You can see that entire player pool, my entire interest and my prioritized interest for SuperDraft and DraftKings as well on Patreon. So Mikal Bridges is just sort of a filler value for you, right? He's a filler value if the New Orleans guys don't open up for us. If they do open up first, just go to those guys. The number 4 play in the slate, Fred VanVleet. No Kyle Lowry still. He's expected to miss some time. So Fred VanVleet, and we can start to do this right now and add more funds. So I'm on add more funds right now. I just took off Norman Powell, not on the team anymore, and I took off Mr. Kyle Lowry. You can see Fred VanVleet plays the most minutes, and look at this. He averages a whopping 1.2 fantasy points per minute in a decent minute sample, right? A big minute sample of 317 minutes. He's averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute. He normally averages, if you're wondering, like 1.1. So he gets a big uptick here. He gets his assist percentage to go up to 29%. He obviously gets his usage rates to jump to close to 30%. So Fred VanVleet looks fantastic, and that is why he's inside our top 5. And if you want to play him on Prize Picks right now, the over 42, I'm not against it. I have Fred VanVleet for 45 points and change as it stands right now at $8,200 with a very nice team implied total, 114 team implied total. You can feel very secure about Fred VanVleet's minutes as well. He was playing 40 plus minutes just a week ago straight, right, for 3 or 4 straight games. And now there's no Lowry, so you can expect that to even be low on him. You can expect if I give him 38 to 40 minutes, I think it's slightly too high, but now he starts to project out for closer to 40 fantasy points. Looks very good today. We're going to stay in Toronto at $5,200, and I mean, more times than not, as long as the positionality is there for you. If you have a spot in center or utility, give me Chris Boucher over Mikal Bridges. They're going to project out as not the same exact plays. That's why Chris Boucher is a little bit higher. But when you're talking about the ceilings here, Chris Boucher's ceiling is 50. Mikal Bridges, you're happy once he starts to hit the 30s for you. Chris Boucher, 5,200. He plays the second most minutes. And people might be thinking, oh, who benefits with Lowry off the court? Yeah, it's clearly Fred VanVleet. Clearly the guys who end up picking up more run in the rotation, like a Stanley Johnson, maybe a DeAndre Bembry, although he's been out lately. Chris Boucher actually benefits in a major way. He averages 1.21 fantasy points per minute. He sees a massive usage uptick. There's more minutes in the rotation now for them and encourages them them to get him into the rotation more as a production drop from no Kyle Lowry being in there. You don't want to just go down to Malachi Flynn or DeAndre Bembry. So now with Chris Boucher in there, he ends up averaging 1.1 fantasy points per minute, over a 20% defensive rebounding rate. We typically see him playing more minutes with Lowry off the court. That's why he ends up spiking up here in a 279-minute sample. And here's the thing. I have Boucher just projected out for 22 minutes today. At 22 minutes, Chris Boucher projects out for me for around 29 fantasy points, making him our number 3 play in the slate. If you give Boucher 24, 26, or 28 minutes at this price point against Golden State and James Washington and who else? Eric Paschal's supposed to be playing today. Kevon Looney, Draymond, like it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for Chris Boucher today. So $5,200 looks like one of the best value plays on the slate. He is probably the best value option or one of the two, if indeed you're not counting the New Orleans guys. The number 2 play, we're staying in Toronto. I think this is the last Toronto guy, but we shall see. $7,800 Pascal Siakam. We flip back over now to the Add More Funds page, and Siakam plays the 3rd most minutes without no Lowry on the court. He doesn't average the greatest production. Look, it's a smaller sample now for Siakam, just 252 minutes, so not the exact same as 317 for a Mr. Fred VanVleet. A 24% assist percentage is nice, decent defensive rebounding rate, but just 1.03 fantasy points per minute. But the nice thing is he's not $8,200, he's just $7,800. I also think that this is a factor of a smaller sample because he averages a 47% effective field goal rate in these 252 minutes, which tells me that it's just kind of a small sample size. He's not going to shoot that poorly. A guy who shoots close to the basket pretty often, he's going to be in the upper 50s or the mid 50s for Pascal Siakam. So Siakam for me, our number 2 play in the slate right now at $7,800. I gave him 35 minutes, can easily play more than that, 36, 37, 38. He projects out for 44.46 fantasy points for me, a 5.7x point per dollar value rating, our number 2 play. And to top it all off, the number 1 play in the slate, Mr. Robert Williams. Drum roll, please, as we announce another center play on this slate. Robert Williams, we said it the last time out. Robert Williams is now playing 30 minutes. I said, okay, we've seen it once, and then he ends up playing like 28 minutes, and then he plays 32 again. So now I feel secure. I'm giving Robert Williams today 30 minutes against Houston, a 116.5 team implied total. This is a motherfucker. This is a motherfucker who averages 1.3 fantasy points per minute. I expect that to drop a little bit when he's playing alongside Jaylen Brown and Kemba and Jayson Tatum and higher fantasy point per minute producers than he does in half of his minutes off the bench, with a lot more coming now from when he's starting. But this is a man who, if you can get him to just even play 28 minutes, more times than not, he's going to start to score closer to 40 fantasy points. And he's going to quickly become a $7,000 and a $7,500 player if he keeps this minutes overall upside. The matchup against Houston couldn't get any better from a defensive standpoint. Christian Wood does not scare me for Robert Williams. Robert Williams is pretty versatile as well. As long as Christian Wood can stay in the game towards the end, I think we can get closing run out of Robert Williams like we did last time out when he played 32 minutes against New Orleans. We got the closing run in a game where they lost by 6, a competitive game. They said, hey, we trust you. We want to put you out here in this situation. Hopefully we can see Robert Williams start so we can see more security in those minutes, but this is a motherfucker. This is a motherfucker who has all the upside in the world. The ceiling is very... Chris Boucher and Robert Williams, they're both in our top 3 today. It's fitting because they're very similar players. Not their price today. It's different, right? But in terms of if they get minutes, if you can just get these guys into the mid to upper 20s in minutes, their floor and their ceiling is massive because what they do on a point per minute basis. Both of them in quality matchups today. That is our top 12 plays on the day as it stands. Again, the disclaimer that the New Orleans guys, 5 of those New Orleans guys are currently in my actual top 7 if I rule Brandon Ingram, Zion, and Lonzo Ball out today. We'll update that if we need to based on news. And all the other news today, we'll have the MLB projections out. The NBA projections are about to go up. The optimizers are going to be locked, loaded, ready to crank them all out for you people today. You party people, happy Friday. Have a lovely start to your weekend, your Easter weekend. I wish you nothing but happiness and enjoyment throughout your weekend. Reach out to me if you need to for any reasons at all. If you're like, hey, something with the Patreon optimizer, something, anything you need to, or even if it's like, hey, I've been feeling pretty sad lately. I don't know who to talk to. I don't got anybody to talk to. Hey, reach out. My DMs are open. So thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe before you go. We'll be live later today around 5 p.m. East Coast time to answer your questions, to attack updates, to talk ownership, to talk top plays, price picks, all these types of things. And also, the sponsor of the program, Prize Picks. You want to tail this little prop that we got going on right here. You want to tail this little prop. We end up getting us some Jayson Tatum on the under 45 because we like Robert Williams so much and all the other guys are starting. And now we have Stephen Curry over 43. We had a big game yesterday out of him, 47.5 points projection for me today out of him, giving him 34 minutes. Tail that using the code SAL on the screen right now, SAL, link in the description to go over to Prize Picks. Again, code SAL, SAL, get you that free money bonus up to $100. Let them know what you came from me. You all rock. I'll see you on the next one, gang. We'll be having some live streams later today.